Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Sports Exchange. My name is Scott Morganroth, the Motor City Madmouth, along with Louis Adio Weiss. Louis, how you doing tonight?
What's going on, Scott? Got a lot to talk about.
We sure do, and our special guest is Bo Sheck, and Bo Sheck is a contributor for the South Florida Tribune. And Bo, glad to have you on the program.
Hey guys, thanks for having me. I appreciate it, and I can't wait to weigh in.
Well, you're going to do that right now. We're going to figure that the Bo part of the program has a little bit of rant about the commissioner, right, Bo?
Yeah. So I'm a New Yorker, so I'm a Yankee fan. I just let you know that, and I am not very happy with what Rob Manfred is doing to the game right now. I believe he's thoroughly trying to ruin the game through and through, and he's doing everything. He's had a terrible week, and I can go through that piece by piece, and even especially as a Yankee fan, you know, we're supposed to be, everything's supposed to be amazing, but it has not been good, and Rob Manfred is making it that baseball's not going to be most wonderful. I'm going to start off, I guess, by a couple different things that Rob Manfred's been doing. First off, is Rob Manfred, I'm not going to talk about the Yankees, I'll talk about the Mets, is we have the Wilpons are looking to sell. The Wilpons have been a disastrous owner, perhaps arguably one of the worst owners in sports, because they have the funds and they don't spend it. Sure, as you Florida fans know that. He just does not go over the top, and he just won't spend. Anyways, Wilpon would like to sell the team. He doesn't sell the team. He has this guy Cohn on board, and Manfred comes in and bans Cohn and throws Cohn under the bus, and everybody knows, especially in New York, that it was definitely Wilpon who was the problem. The second thing I'm going to jump in on is Manfred's whole idea where he loves to make changes to the game. He just doesn't stop. He tries again and again. He imposes these all different kinds of rules to try to make the game more kid-friendly. It happens to be that, I'm going to be honest, some of the rules I do like, but he just goes on, and he doesn't stop with new rules every single year. There's a 3-batter rule. And then there's the electric umpires, and all different kinds of rules on the reviews. And that's another thing also that people don't like about Manfred, which I'm personally not anti the rules. I'm also don't mind if they have a think tank going on and they're trying to do those kind of things. But personally, I would like to see Manfred get to the root of the problem, which the root of the problem really is that he has a marketing problem. And while he's trying to change the game to make the game better, which in his mind, which it may work, but he really should be getting back to where it really is. Which the real problem is Manfred needs to look in the mirror and realize that he himself and the baseball, they're making baseball not good. They need to market their players correctly. They need to do all different kinds of stuff like that to make the game better. And stop trying to make baseball money by making the MLB.com blackout and restrictions to the clips online. All different kinds of things where he's trying to make money, and he's making marketing problems. I mean, another, like, all the baseball advertisements on TV, like the Viagra and stuff like that, they can't have normal commercials. Like NFL, they have fun commercials, fun, kid-friendly commercials. That's another problem I have with Manfred. Then, obviously, with Manfred, we have the Astros, which, as a Yankee fan, I'm going to be honest, I don't really care so much about the whole sign-stealing scandal. I think it's overrated and overblown. And to be honest, I think a lot of teams were doing it. Perhaps even the Yankees were doing it. The Astros just took it a whole step further. But what Rob Manfred did is a complete joke on this. He only punished the two people who he was able to punish, which he punished Lunau, and he punished Hinch. And then he made the team fire Cora and Beltran. He only punished the people who were out of sports. He gave everybody, only the people who weren't under the MLBPA, which he is totally petrified of. He didn't punish Jim Crane. He gave him a $5 million slap on the wrist when Jim Crane made at least $100 million winning the World Series, and his franchise went up to $500 million at least in winning. So $5 million is just a complete joke and a laugher. And I'm going to get into also with what Crane said today, which is also really, really infuriating to everybody involved. So Crane didn't get slapped at all. He goes and he gives a full ban, and then those guys get fired to the manager and the GMs, and then he gets full anonymity to all the players, which is another thing which is a little bit interesting because he didn't need to give anonymity. He had Flyers who was willing to let everybody know exactly what was going on in the public. but he had to give the players full, whatever they wanted they could do, and the players are running around scot-free. Now it's coming out with all the buzzers and stuff like that. Nobody even believes his report. His report is a joke. So that's that with Manfred. And the last thing with Manfred I'm going to get into, which my main thing is a major problem I have with Manfred, is he's trying to add 2 more teams to the playoffs. I was speaking to Lou. Lou is not a big fan of this either. And the reason why I'm not a big fan of this is because the season is a 162-game grind. And if you make 7 teams out of 15 in each, or 16 potentially, because we know that they're gonna be an expansion soon. But if you add 7 teams to the playoffs, then what you're doing is you're making the 162 games completely watered down. No one's going to be watching April and May games. There is no point of watching April and May games.
Good point.
Teams that are 500 in June can make the playoffs. So why would you watch April and May?
Yeah, I mean, that's a perfectly apt point. I mean, people like you and me who watch baseball year-round, obviously, like, with you being a Yankees fan, there's players on that team, say Frazier cracks the opening day roster and in what limited playing time he's going to have. We want to watch those games early to see how's his swing. Has the defense improved? Is the sun not in his eyes when he's playing in Fenway Park? I mean, I totally agree with you, and nobody has really made that point before, which I'm glad you did, about the ripple-down effects of kind of like desensitizing those early April and May games. So, again, I'm glad you made that. I totally agree with you, Bo. I freaking hate... I mean, look, I said earlier, as soon as the report came out about the suspensions, with Hinge being fired and Luno being fired by Crane an hour or so after, MLB released, their punishments levied on those 2 individuals, immediately right away I was just like, they did not do enough. Manfred is a clown, in my opinion. There's a million other... I will say the home run derby under his tenure has gotten a lot more interesting. If you really want to give him credit, if you want to look at both sides of the story, that's become more entertaining. But
also give him credit for the second wild card. That was also genius.
Well, the second wild card was introduced in 2012. That was under Selig's reign. So I won't totally give him credit for that. You can call it the Lennon-McCartney effect if you want, if you really want to get all... analytical with it, but no, I mean, what he's doing right now, and again, I'll just further agree with you on this. Him and Tony Clark, and it's been known, they do not have a good relationship. That's why there was almost a strike at the end of the 2014 going to 2015 season when he took over, because their relationship was kind of disjointed. And, again, we didn't even mention this, Scott, the CBA expires after the 2021 season, so can you imagine with a lot of these, like, ridiculous changes that are going to be going on? More games, too. You create that new playoff series, Bo and Scott, and more players can become susceptible to injury. I know that's very, like, trite and, like, overused, reasoning in this, but at the end of the day, people can get injured at any game, no matter when, and you play 162, add on top of the spring training and, the hours and hours of practice pregame. Another playoff series is just going to further tire players anymore. I mean, you better incentivize it if you're really going to employ this archaic and kind of like regressive, format into our playoffs. You better incentivize it for the players. And you know what? A lot of what you were saying resonates with what Trevor Bauer was saying. They need to market the players more. And, I couldn't agree with you more. I couldn't agree with anybody else who were to make that assertion, because baseball doesn't do the best job at marketing its players. It markets a lot very well, but there's more players that really need to get that name in the spotlight.
All right, well, let me point out a couple things to you. I'm not buying your theory about the injuries, with the expanded, because they've been playing a lot of them for a lot of years anyways. Now, you did make a point, though, and Bo probably touched on it a little bit, that just say hypothetically that new playoff series where the best team, has to wait it out, then you worry about rustiness, you lose your momentum, then you might have me there. I agree there. But the NFL has a bigger problem, considering the physicality of the sport, about the extra game, more so than baseball, because these guys here, they're used to playing an awful lot of games. With that said, Bo, I want to ask you something, obviously you don't really particularly like Rob Manfred, but what are your thoughts about Bud Selig?
So the big problem I have with Bud Selig had a tremendous love for the game of baseball. But his big problem was that he tried to protect baseball from the fans. Is that Bud Selig tried to put the steroids aside and tried to have it just go away. was just too good for the money was too good for the owners, and everything was not good. And basically, by putting steroids under the rug for a couple of years, he made the problem a ton worse. And that is sort of the problem that I would go back to what Manfred has. Manfred is doing the same problem. He thinks he's trying to protect baseball from itself. Now, no one trusts him. Everybody believes the Astros have buzzers. My favorite team, the Yankees, we have Gary Sanchez insinuating that Altuve had a buzzer. Now, Rob Manfred's report said that the cheating stopped at the beginning of 2018. So why is Sanchez saying that they had a buzzer on when everybody said there's no buzzers? It's because nobody trusts baseball and nobody trusts their stupid report. It makes no sense. And Manfred trying to protect baseball, much like Felix, Manfred trying to protect baseball from itself is doing more harm than good. He should just come out and say what it is and punish them as much as he can and punish that fool Jim Crane who totally embarrassed the sport today. Maybe even force him to sell the team, but that's a different story. It's an embarrassment of what's going on, what Manfred is doing. And his biggest problem really is with Manfred, a different problem about Manfred. Felix needs to not have this problem. But Manfred has a problem where there's a problem, and he just decides to make a different solution to create a different problem. Or there's a problem with marketing, so let's add more playoffs. He's not understanding there's a problem with tanking, so let's put more teams into the playoffs. What he doesn't understand is you add more teams into the playoffs, tanking is still going to work. What the Marlins are doing is genius. Why would you try to win? Why would you try to win and be mediocre when you can add and you build up your thought system and then sign players later on top of those good players you develop? So tanking still works. Adding two teams to the playoffs doesn't take away that tanking and rebuilding still works. Manfred did not solve the problem at all. Then another problem that Manfred does not foresee with his stupid 7-team rule is that, let's say my team, like the Yankees, they're not going to go sign a player like Cole. Why are they going to make a $300 million investment when they're already guaranteed to basically win 90 games and make the playoffs within a 17 playoffs? They're all guaranteed to get in. Why make a $300 million investment? It's just stupid.
All right, Bo, I wanted to ask you one more question real quick. We got about 3 to 5 minutes left, and that's this. So 3 minutes left. You and me saw the footage this morning. I woke up to seeing Alex Bregman, almost like I was watching the movie American Psycho. I mean, he was as dead emotionally inside as Christian Bale's character was in that movie when I saw him. And the apologies issued by him, Crane, and Jose Altuve. First of all, Chris Russo on High Heat on MLB Network made a very apt point. Dusty Baker had no right being there. He's the figurehead of that team now, but he should not have been involved at all in that press conference because he was nowhere involved with that team in 2017. He was managing the Nationals, for Christ's sake. What is your opinion? What is your opinion on the quote, air quote, I'm saying air quote, Scott's watching me do this, apologies today from Bregman? Correa, I will applaud, was very good, very forthcoming and honest. But from Correa, Crane, and Altuve, also Verlander, hypocritical for everything he said. But give me your thoughts real quick as we wind up the segment on, the way that they kind of address the media today.
So surprisingly, Altuve hit the big home run off my pitcher Chapman to send them to the World Series. And Bregman's obviously been a big heel, and he loves to celebrate and all that. You'd be surprised to say I'm not even shocked that they gave a half-assed apology. It doesn't even matter to me that they made such a little apology. When they look at their owner, who's a billionaire, who's their owner, who's paying them $20 million a year, and he goes up there and he says it's debatable if it even helps us. Why do you want the players to even admit to saying it's wrong? Crane, the owner, also said the players are good people, and it was just the leadership and the guidance which was the problem, throwing Hinch and Luna totally under the bus. Now, getting back, just to answer your question, I don't even care. It's the person who really bothers me is Jim Crane, the owner. I don't care about Bregman. I don't care about Altuve. It does help, yes, Correa being nice. It does help. Correa will probably be thrown out less because he came out there and he owned up on it. Mm-hmm. But I don't care about it. None of them admitted to the buzzers, which we all assume happened. So, in my opinion, they did what they needed to do, but it's all boiled down to their owner because they couldn't even admit to anything anyways because their owner said there's no problem. Once somebody has a child, and somebody tells the child it's okay to do that, why do you want the child to the child is not going to apologize if their parent tells them it's okay.
All right, Bo, I want to wrap it up with this question. Mike Fiers was the whistleblower here. Do you think had he been awarded a World Series ring or been treated a little bit better on the outs that he would have actually blown the whistle on these guys?
Well, he got a ring because he was on that team. That's
well, he did. Yeah, all right, but I thought that they left him off the postseason.
Yeah, I think he left him off the postseason roster.
Right, okay,
yeah.
Well, that's fine. He got a ring, but left off the postseason. But, it's a side carry. You left me off the postseason roster. Why not go ahead and blow the horn on you?
It doesn't help that you throw 85 and hit people in the face.
Well, that's beside the point.
Mike Fiers is clearly a jerk. And Mike Fiers, I still look at him as a rat, and Mike Fiers definitely broke the code of the locker room.
Okay.
So I don't look at him as a hero, and that's coming from a Yankee fan.
Yeah.
That's fair.
I don't look at him as a hero. He broke the code of the locker room. Now, that being said, he is a little bit of a hero because at the end of the day, everybody did go to Manfred, and Manfred did put this under the rug for 2 years. That's another thing I didn't mention about Manfred, another thing that came out this last couple of weeks. Manfred knew about this going on for years, and he covered it under the rug until Ken Rosenthal blew it up. There was nothing. He would have continued shoving it under the rug, and he wouldn't have stopped. Mike Fiers is still a rat, and he's still a bad, and he's still actually not even a good person. But that's a different story.
Yep.
I don't like. I think he's a little bit of a jerk. He threats and showed no remorse on it either. But Mike Fiers is a rat, and he came out because he didn't like the players. He probably didn't like the players because he's probably not a good person. That's what I think.
Okay, well, you know what?
And Derek Cole who's on the Yankees now, said that the Astros didn't cheat in 2018 and 2019.
Okay.
I don't expect him to announce it either because he's not a rat. Only rats rat.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what, Bo, I enjoyed your rant, even though you're ending it on a rat. So, meanwhile, I'll like to tell you, Bo, it's been great having you on the Sports Exchange tonight, and we appreciate everything you do to go ahead and tote the company.
Yeah, and before you go, I mean, do you want to plug your Twitter for us?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, thanks, Scott. First of all, thanks, Scott. Thanks, Lewis.
No
I want
problem.
to say that Lewis reached out to me, and I'm not much of a writer. So as you can hear right now, I'm pretty much more of a talker. But Twitter's all about writing and putting stuff out like that. And Lewis said, you have some good thoughts, and I put some words together, and Lewis knows how to patch it up. And Lewis is a great follow, and all you guys, you write wonderful. I try to read as many articles as I can, and they're all written amazing, very informative, and even some of them where I don't even know what sports you're talking about. I still read them anyways. It's very good. And yeah, I appreciate it. And obviously, you guys are there. You guys do a wonderful job. I appreciate it. I love reading your stuff.
Well, we appreciate you getting it out there. So, just with 10 seconds to go here, I believe your Twitter handle is @BoSheck, or is it @SheckBo?
It's @SheckBo. My name is Bo Sheck.
Okay.
My Twitter handle is @SheckBo, where you will see 90% of Yankee talk with smattered in making fun of the Knicks and saying how much of a joke the Giants are. And then I do follow the rest of baseball. So every once in a while, I'll send out a baseball tweet because I do follow baseball. I'm excited about baseball. I love baseball.
All right.
And I love what the Marlins are doing. I really do.
All right, Bo. Running out of time, but we want to thank you for being on the Sports Exchange. It's been a pleasure talking to you tonight. Thank you, Bo.
We'll talk to you soon, man.
Pleasure was mine. Yeah, take care, Lewis.
Thanks.
Bye, Bo. Have a good one.
Well, I got to tell you, Bo came as advertised.
Yeah, look,
he did.
I interact with him on Twitter all the time. I think we, at least we exchange a reply or I comment on one of his posts at least once every day, or if not every other day. And you know what? Working with him on stories has been really fun because, like me, he likes the numbers and he likes to take, he takes a very analytical approach with the way that he sees baseball, and he speaks to some pretty notable people. So he's a fantastic follow on Twitter. His thoughts are very informed, and he very well lays out everything that he has to say. So I mean, couldn't help but have a better guest to start the show tonight than him.
Well, it worked out well. I mean, like I said, the one thing we always try to do is for those individuals that make a solid contribution to the company, we certainly like to make sure they have a voice in the program
What's
as well.
your expression? You write it, you say it, right?
Yeah, you write it, you speak it.
There you go.
Say it, what's the difference? It's the same idea.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think one thing I've learned with this philosophy, though, Lewis, if you're going to come on here, you want to come here as polished as you can. What better way to do it than to be able to put it in words so you ultimately do the best you can to be smooth around the air. I think that, to me, is a philosophy that we've built the company around, and one that will continue to build it as time goes on. So, you're definitely the one talented young guy, and I think the potential you have is just so unbelievable that I don't have to toot you. I've seen enough of your stuff to realize what's in front of me.
You don't go to a job interview without a suit and a resume. You don't come on the Sports Exchange without doing your research and contributing to us before you come on.
Very good. Well, while we continue to talk, why don't you go ahead and give your Twitter a bit of a plug.
Slowly trying to grow my Twitter following. It's getting up there, interacting with more people, talking sports on the air. But Adio_Lewis00 is my handle. If you want to reach me, follow me. While I interact with you, I follow back too. So.
All right. With that said, we want to welcome Charlotte Bat CEO Rick Curdy to the program. Rick, thanks for being on the Sports Exchange.
Thanks for having me on here, guys. Appreciate it.
You're very welcome. You know who I am, and you know who you're talking to. And Mr. Adio Weiss is ready to take your best shots.
All right.
Wow, already.
No Brad Osmus, Mike Sosha talk today, though. Let's leave those in the. Let's leave them in the shoebox. We'll talk about that another day.
All right, sounds good.
So, Rick, let's hear your weekly Rick rant. What are you going to go on about today?
I think the cheating Astros should be banned, and I think they're worse than Pete Rose and shoeless Joe Jackson, and their apologies were ridiculous, and they're only sorry because they got caught. And then the asinine owner of the Astros had the audacity to say that, well, yeah, we cheated, but it wouldn't have mattered anyway. Well, if it didn't matter, then why'd you fire your manager and why'd you fire your GM? So he's an idiot for saying that. The Astros are an idiot. Altuve's an idiot. And honestly, they just need to vacate the World Series championship, leave it vacant, just like they did in '94 when they didn't have a World Series. And they should just leave it like that. There should be no champion when the Astros won it.
Rick, you're an interesting fellow. I'd say a rather uncompromising one. And I want to read you a quote I read on watching Intentional Talk today. Obviously, it's one of the, I'd say the lighter shows on MLB Network, but Chris Rose is on there and is a name that I respect from the Best Damn Sports Show. He also did a lot of Fox NFL Sunday. And, they interact with a lot of players. If you watch that show during the season, it's a lot of interviews pregame, talking to guys, kind of loosening up the nature a little bit. But I want to read you a quote that he said to co-host Kevin Millar. Give me your thoughts on it without, ripping it up like
Sure.
like a piece of paper you don't